Oh, I thought he just knocked us off. You know, it's disgrace. That needs to be overturned now. That needs to be overturned and they need to go and do it again.
There were grounds for disqualification. If you go by the rules, technically there are grounds for disqualification.
The boxing world is in an uproar, with many blasting the controversial knockout of David Adeleye over Jeamie TKV. Taking direct aim at the referee, Ben Shalom, who has promoted Jeamie TKV, has strongly criticized the outcome. He described the situation as disgraceful, condemning the referee's actions. According to Shalom, it was one of the most bizarre moments of his life, calling the referee's approach unprofessional. He pointed out that the referee took breaks twice for a fighter, and then abruptly stopped the count midway without allowing the match to continue, something Shalom viewed as strange, unfair, and unethical.
Yeah, I wasn't going to speak tonight at all, but what I just witnessed was one of the most disgraceful things I've seen in my career. To see a referee call break twice and take someone's arm, and then for him to actually count him out, was one of the most crazy pieces of refereeing I think I've ever seen.
With a clear stance, Ben went on to assert that the decision must be overturned. For him, there was no other option but to do so. He emphasized that David Adeleye was not to blame in this situation. Rather, the referee was responsible for displaying such unprofessionalism, which Shalom believes has harmed the sport of boxing. While many focused on Adeleye potentially being declared the winner, Shalom insisted that the key issue was the referee's decision to allow breaks at crucial moments, undermining the integrity of the match.
And it has to be overturned. I'm not even blaming David. The referee has had an absolute nightmare. Jeamie was cruising the fight. It was getting easier for him in there. I thought, how has he switched off there from where I was? And then I've seen the ref. Unbelievable, actually unbelievable. But it has to be overturned. There's no other result. Like, that has to be overturned. David Adeleye didn't win that fight. He's called a break and got a guy, and it's actually extremely dangerous as well. In heavyweight boxing, to call a break twice and then have someone take a punch like that and count them out, it's extremely dangerous. And yeah, as I say, I wasn't going to talk tonight. I was coming to support Jeamie, but that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, and we'll obviously have to appeal and it will be overturned.
Blaming it entirely on the referee, Ben Shalom pointed out that poor refereeing took a fight that Jeamie was already winning out of his hands. He further asserted that the entire situation left Jeamie confused and unsure of what to do next, as he had worked so hard for this fight. Ben highlighted that the outcome of the fight was technically controversial, describing it as a disqualification that should never have happened. He emphasized how the referee not only allowed breaks at critical moments, but also failed to listen to both the fighter and his corner, which Ben considered to be a rude and unacceptable oversight on the referee's part.
Jeamie doesn't know how that's happened. He's confused. He's winning the fight, everything's going well, and he gets called to break twice. Any heavyweight, if they catch you when you have stopped, when you have let your guard down, it's going to end badly. It's so dangerous that. It's actually dangerous. And yeah, and to see the referee deny it to Barry that he called break, I was like, what? So I had to watch it back. You hear him call break twice and touch his arm, and then he's looked the other way and got hit, and then he waited and he hesitated and then counted him out. I feel for Jeamie. He's worked a long time to get to this position, and he was cruising that fight, but that decision cannot stay. That has to be overturned. If anything, technically, it's a disqualification. It's a look at what happened to Paddy Donovan. But I'm not even blaming David on that one. That was just terrible, terrible refereeing, and it's lost Jeamie a fight that he was winning quite comfortably.
Another fighter who expressed his support for Jeamie TKV was Fraser Clark. He pointed out that this was the kind of fight where not everything should be blamed on David Adeleye. Instead, the focus should be on the referee, whose actions were unfair to the sport of boxing. Clark went on to emphasize that David Adeleye would not acknowledge the disqualification as it worked in his favor, but the real issue at hand was the future of Jeamie TKV. Clark noted that Jeamie was on track to become the heavyweight champion, but lost a fight he was clearly winning due to the referee's controversial decision.
I don't. It's not one of them where you probably don't even blame David Adeleye. He's in the fight. Do you know what I mean?
He might not have heard that as well.
Exactly. And but obviously when you watch it back, it's quite bad. Me and Jeamie aren't best friends, but you know I was enjoying the fact that he was winning. You know, he's winning comfortably. He's well ahead. So you know it's a bit of a sticky one. It's a bad way for it to end. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure probably David don't take nothing from that, but Jeamie, you know, he was well on his way to become British champion.
Meanwhile, as Jeamie TKV's team plans to appeal the controversial decision, Fraser has come forward to offer his support. He openly backed the idea of pursuing an appeal, insisting that it's clear from the fight that the decision was unfair. Clark further pointed out that if anyone were to watch the fight again, it would undoubtedly raise questions about the referee's actions, as he has left viewers with no other choice but to question the fairness of the decision. He said, "Yeah, you've got to. Once you watch it back, you're gonna have to, you know what I mean? You got no choice. You're gonna have to when you see that back. It's really crystal clear." Following David Adeleye's knockout win over Jeamie TKV, Jeamie's trainer Barry Smith blasted the referee for what he described as unfair manipulation at the end of the fight. He called the situation a disgrace, highlighting the serious consequences of such a decision and voicing his strong objections. Barry pointed out the flaws in the decision, emphasizing that it must be overturned and that a rematch is the only appropriate course of action for the board to take. He also criticized the referee for ignoring his reminder when he entered the ring, pointing out that the referee had already taken breaks twice during the fight.
Disgusting from the referee. Worst bit of refereeing I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, he called break twice, and actually had slapped Jamie's arm to step back and give Dave a free punch. You can't give Dave a free punch. Yeah, but he's boxing his head off for 5 rounds. Yeah, literally. And he gave him a free punch. If you watch the ref, yeah, he actually hesitated to count. He actually was it because he knew he called break twice. Yeah. And then after, he came out and went, "I didn't call break." When I pulled him on it, he went, "I didn't call break." I went, "Yes, you fucking did. You did call fucking break." And he tried to deny it. Then after he went, "Yeah, but I did say break." I went, "No, you said break twice." He went, "Oh, I thought he just fucked us off." You know, it's disgrace. That needs to be overturned now. That needs to be overturned and they need to go and do it again. Yeah, because he was getting a boxing lesson. You can't give Dave Adeleye a free punch. And the referee gave him a free punch and that was it.
Furious at the referee, Barry argued that it didn't matter whether David Adeleye heard the break call or not, as in his view, everyone else saw it clearly. He dismissed any debate over whether such a situation had occurred in boxing before, insisting that the referee broke the rules. Barry condemned the referee for allowing David Adeleye to land a free punch while Jeamie TKV was following the break, calling it a clear violation that warranted disqualification. He even suggested that Adeleye, for taking the free punch, could also be disqualified. Regardless of others' opinions, Barry was adamant that this was the biggest disgrace, a night where they had been robbed badly.
I don't know if he heard him, but I know we all heard him. He must have done because we all heard him. Yeah, everyone heard him. Everyone, we've run a ringside, but he said break twice. So Jamie abided by the rules.
It weren't dissimilar to what happened, the same thing. And the referee's pulled Corey's fight against Rafferty. He's pulled his hand down and he's got Corey on a hook.
He done that to Jamie. Yeah, listen, what did he do?
You should be touching him. You should be touching the hands.
Yeah. Same ref. Yeah.
I don't know. Was it the
same ref? But he pulled his arm down and he gave Dave a free punch. By the laws of boxing, Dave should have been disqualified for that.
Or at the very least, giving him 5 minutes to recover and take a point off. Do you know what I mean? He shouldn't be counted.
You can't give Dave Adeleye a free punch. I'll say that again. You cannot give that mate. He's a big puncher. I will say congratulations to Dave. You know, no bad blood between us. But this was a disgrace. We was robbed tonight. Robbed. The board needed to do something about this.
Amidst the criticism surrounding the controversy, Adam Booth, coach of David Adeleye, shared his perspective. He argued that, in his view, Jeamie TKV had been fouling during the fight and was not delivering the punches or performing as expected. Booth went on to discuss the game plan he had devised for David Adeleye, which ultimately led to the late stoppage victory. He explained that his strategy was to avoid prolonged exchanges, and when the fighters went into a clinch, he shouted, "Do not wait." According to Adam, it was at this moment that David Adeleye landed a left hook, which resulted in the knockout. As for any calls for breaks from the referee, Adam denied hearing anything of the sort inside the ring.
I don't know. I just said to him before the start of that round, just don't wait on him. He's tiring now. Just let your hands go. And when they went into the clinch, I shouted, "Don't wait." And as soon as I shouted, "Don't wait," he threw that left hook. I don't know if the referee said anything or not because all I could hear was my own voice at that moment. And so I'm wondering, was it me because I shouted "Don't wait" and they thought that was break, or did the ref actually say it? Because I didn't hear anything from the ref. But at the end of the day, you have to defend yourself at all times. David's been a victim of a similar type of thing, and in that fight, Jeamie was, getting off with some fouls, to say the least.
Commenting on the fight, Gareth A. Davies highlighted that both Adeleye and TKV started off rather subdued. He acknowledged that despite Jeamie TKV delivering a solid performance, he was not dominating throughout the fight. In the first 3 rounds, Gareth saw Jeamie performing well, but by the 4th round, he felt that David Adeleye had begun to move with more speed and land more powerful punches. Despite these developments, Gareth openly expressed his belief that TKV was ahead in the fight, suggesting him as his favorite at that point.
I thought Jeamie TKV had 3. It was the 5th round, wasn't it?
It was, yes.
I thought TKV started very. It was a very odd, subdued start from both men, to be honest. I thought Jeamie TKV had 3 very good rounds at the start. A couple of those were close, but I thought he just shaded them. I thought Adeleye started to really come into his own in the 4th round. Movement, landed a few big punches, and was going well in the 5th round. But I don't agree that TKV was dominating in any way. But he was putting up a very, very fine performance to that point. So I had TKV just ahead.
Right after the fight, David Adeleye shared his reaction to the chaotic outcome. He admitted that he hadn't watched the fight back yet, but pointed out that in his previous bout with Wardley, he had experienced a loss in exactly the same way. Adeleye questioned why no one had spoken out for him during that time, noting that everyone had chosen to stay silent. He stated that this situation had happened to him before, and now, if people are calling this one controversial, there is nothing he can do to change it.
Not yet, I haven't watched it back yet. Everyone said it's controversial. I mean, Wardley beat me the exact same way. I was that hated that nobody even said anything like that. So.
On the other hand, Gareth completely disagreed with David Adeleye's perspective. He argued that Adeleye's claim of experiencing the same circumstances in his fight with Fabio Wardley made no sense. Gareth considered it irrelevant to compare those outcomes with what transpired in this fight. He pointed out that in this controversial decision, there were clear grounds for disqualification, noting that at one point he had seen a point deducted from David Adeleye's scorecard for taking a break. From a technical standpoint, Gareth believed there were significant grounds for disqualification in this fight.
In the moment, I wondered, wow, is he going to get disqualified here? Or certainly a point deducted for landing on the break. That was my immediate thought. I also thought, if going back retrospective, and I agree with the analysis you just gave of it, that it's irrelevant what David Adeleye was saying afterwards, that this happened to me in my fight with Fabio Wardley. That's irrelevant to this, and I don't remember that in that fight anyway. I think there were grounds for disqualification. If you go by the rules, technically there are grounds for disqualification.
Highlighting the flaws, Gareth strongly disagreed with the referee placing his hands on the fighter and preventing him from moving. He questioned how such an action could be justified when a referee is not allowing the fighter space to move or defend himself. Another point Gareth raised was the issue of the break. He asserted that regardless of whether a boxer heard the call or not, once a break has been taken, continuing the fight is clearly an invitation to violating the rules of boxing. He condemned the referee's actions, calling the ending unsatisfactory and one that had rightfully enraged the boxing community. Gareth also acknowledged the anger from Barry Smith and Ben Shalom, noting their clear dissatisfaction with the results.
I think with the referee, his hand on the fighter, I'm not sure I agree with that either, because you're stopping him defending himself at all time. But if he's called break twice anyway, that is, regardless of the other boxers heard it or not, he needs to face the penalty afterwards. So it was a dissatisfactory end, and I get why. I've seen some of the interviews with Ben Davison and Barry Smith, why they were so incensed afterwards. Both they kept their counsel fairly well in the ring, but they were very disgruntled afterwards in interviews. I mean, you would have spoken to them as well. They were very unhappy about it, and I do get it. It's very unsatisfactory how it's played out.
Furthermore, with Ben Shalom and Barry Smith vocal about pursuing an appeal to the Board of Control, Gareth confirmed the official stance from the British Boxing Board of Control. He recalled speaking with Robert Smith, the General Secretary of the board, who asserted that they are currently in the process of gathering all relevant information from ringside, including reports from the referee involved in the controversy, Ron Kearney. Gareth emphasized that Ron Kearney is a respected official, and it's not assumed that he would allow a blemish on his reputation. As the reports are being collected, Gareth indicated that there is a strong possibility of a thorough review of the situation. He also suggested that there is a chance the British Boxing Board of Control could order a rematch between the fighters.
I spoke to Robert Smith this morning. They've got a board meeting this week. He said he's accumulating all the information at the moment. He's waiting for Ron Kearney, the referee's report. He's a star referee, so he is at the higher level. Star referee and judge, been in the business 10 years. So they're going to look at all the detail from around it, the ringside supervisor's report, Kearney's reports, take it all in, look back over it, and I think they'll order a rematch, Boxing King Media.
Despite the heated discussions and criticism surrounding the referee's actions, Gareth firmly believes that the right course of action would be to settle the matter in the ring once again. Speaking on the possibility of a rematch, he stated, "I think the only way forward is to order a rematch for the British title. They have to fight again, and it needs to happen soon. Jeamie TKV wasn't badly knocked out or seriously hurt in the fight, so I believe he can come back from this. I'd really like to see this fight happen again." Speaking on the possibility of the board ordering a disqualification for David Adeleye, Gareth pointed out that this is unlikely. He explained that Robert Smith, the General Secretary of the British Boxing Board of Control, was not present at the time, and the board is currently gathering all the necessary information from ringside. Gareth noted that a statement would be released soon once all the details are compiled. He also mentioned that the British Boxing Board of Control is focused on other major fights scheduled for May, such as the one involving Canelo Alvarez and William Smith, which has further delayed their attention on this matter.
He won't do that yet. All he's saying is he's amassing the information. He wasn't at the event, by the way. Robert Smith wasn't the ringside supervisor on the night. He wasn't overseeing it. Obviously, they've got huge work going on getting the thing together for Canelo and Skull, because they're overseeing that in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I think they've got folk that might be at the WBC league as well, so they're very busy with a lot of things, and he is particularly busy. But I think it's good, I think, for once that it falls on a week where there's a stewards meeting, because that will definitely, as he said, be on the agenda, so a decision can be made very quickly.
Acknowledging the unpredictable nature of the situation, Gareth pointed out that the decision now rests heavily on the reports from boxing referee Ron Kearney, while he addressed the common belief that Jeamie TKV had requested a break, something he personally disagreed with. Gareth emphasized that it was clearly observed on the boxing tape that the referee not only called for the break twice, but also physically touched Jeamie TKV's hands.
But they're very unpredictable anyway. How it goes, to me, it depends whether they go in defence of Kearney and what Kearney explains. There's conflicting reports afterwards that people talking to the referee from the teams, he said he didn't say break, but he clearly says break, and he clearly touches.
Adding his analysis, Gareth expressed his disgust at the way the fight ended, noting that it was a highly unsatisfactory conclusion. However, given the circumstances, Gareth noted that the ultimate decision now lies in Ron Kearney's hands, depending on what his reports reveal. Reflecting on the build-up to the fight, he mentioned how it had been one of the most hyped matchups, with everything from the tense press conferences to the verbal exchanges between the fighters adding to the drama. Gareth concluded that if a decision is made soon, it could make this already explosive fight even more intense.
So, I mean, I watched that back. I saw it live anyway, and I thought, wow, this is not a good way to end a fight of this nature. And after, you were excited about it because of the build-up, because of the tables, because being overturned, because of the smack talk on Talk Sport the other day, because of the friendly kind of rivalry which turned to enmity between them in the last couple of weeks. David Adeleye trying to wind Jeamie up, and the teams going at it during the week. It was unmissable. You know, and I made sure I had a good, strong Wi-Fi connection because I didn't want to miss it, because it was one of those fights that could have been very explosive.
Well, that wraps up our breakdown of the controversial fight between David Adeleye and Jeamie TKV. With so many voices weighing in and the debate heating up, the boxing world is certainly on edge about what happens next. Whether it's a rematch or a potential disqualification, one thing's for sure, this isn't over yet. Let us know what you think. Should the British Boxing Board of Control order a rematch, or does David Adeleye deserve to keep the win? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates as this story continues to unfold. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.